All right, it is 6:30 PM. We'll go ahead and get started. This is the Planning and Zoning Commission for Tuesday, January 13th, 2025. Call the meeting to order. May I get a roll call, please, Director Centeno?
Yes, Chair Williams,
Here.
Vice Chair Berteau,
Present.
Commissioner Aragon,
Present.
Commissioner Anderson,
Here.
Commissioner Gizarelli,
Present.
Commissioner Ehlers,
Present.
Commissioner Tibbetts.
Here.
All right, if you all join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks. We'll move on to public comments. Anyone here to make a public comment for an item that is not on the agenda tonight?
Not me.
There is nobody signed in and nobody online.
All right, great, thanks. We'll move on to the consent agenda. This is an action item to approve the minutes of the December 9th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Did anyone have any questions about that? And if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved approval for December 9th.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Berteau, a second from Commissioner Anderson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Any conflicts of interest this evening from anyone related to any agenda items?
No.
Hearing none. Do we also have any agenda changes tonight?
There are no agenda changes.
All right, we'll get right to it then. The next item is a public notice action item for a Columbine liquor sign exemption. We'll start with Director Centeno, and then if anyone from the applicants team is here, we'll have them speak. We will open it up for public hearing, have some more comments, and then make our decision.
Great.
Thanks.
Alrighty, Columbine Liquor applied for a permit to install a new identification sign on their building. And given that the square footage does not meet the requirements, our code allows for 16 square foot for an identification sign within the commercial district that they're located. Their sign is 33 square feet that they're proposing. It is in alignment with what's existing. It's very, very close. I did put pictures within the staff report. The existing sign is block lettering that says Columbine Liquor. I'll try to make that bigger too. And then the new sign is a plaque mounted sign that when placed on the building is gonna be about the equivalent of the space that was taken up with the block lettering. I put the municipal code in here, as well as the requirements within the code for a sign exception. The bold lettering was my response to what was actually in the code, that they're in a B1 zone district. I believe that the request is reasonable and fits within the existing space. The business is directly adjacent to Highway 6. So given the traffic, the roundabout, location and speed, it seems like the larger sign is not gonna impede any scenario, but rather be beneficial for the applicant and as well as the people passing by, that they would see the signage closer, because that coming out of the roundabout, the entrance into their location happens very quickly. So I don't think that there's anything negative about giving them a little bit more visual cue that that's where it's at. Overall, staff finds that the application meets the requirements for a sign exemption with a compatible use within the location at 840 Main Street. I did give a planner recommendation of approval. There are 5 conditions of approval, with the first one being that if there is an increase in the illumination, that the applicant would need to apply for a new sign exception. The sign being applied for is not illuminated. There are a couple small existing lights that shine up to it on the building that light up the existing sign. There's no plan to change any of that. Number 2 would be that all representations made within this meeting and verbally spoken would be conditions of approval. Number 3 is that the applicant would provide any additional requested documents and pay any fees. Number 4 would be that the applicant need to apply for a permit, which he already did, triggering this sign exception. And that any additional applications for signs would, if they exceed the allotted square footages, would come back in front of the planning commission. There is a recommended motion. And the application is attached with all of the relevant information. Again, because of the fraudulent invoice and going around, there is redacted information, but that is exclusive just to the contact information. So nothing has been redacted that would be relevant for this meeting. Outside of that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, and it appears as if we are moving a little faster than what Matt was able to get here. But given that it's a fairly easy application, I don't know that we would need to wait for his presence.
Is the old sign red lettering?
It is.
And is the new one not gonna be red?
No, he said it was just gonna be the white. This would be exactly what it looks like. It would be the white with the black. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I think if there's maybe any like questions specific to the applicant that anyone has, or if there's maybe some differing opinions, we'll go ahead and wait until 6:45. But yeah, does anyone have any, I guess, questions?
I have questions for you, Nicole. Why do we have code that's going to limit signage if we're? I haven't been on the seat that long, but like this is the first time I've seen an application come through. Like, why do we have the code limiting signs if the first one that comes through seems to be recommended to just let it bypass the code?
So our sign code is outdated and it's on our list of code changes that need to be gone through. But it's not, it wasn't a health and safety, so it's not at the top of our list. That's why we haven't gotten to it yet. But it's so restrictive that comparing the size of the sign to the size of the building and the speed of traffic, especially on Main Street, it is difficult for somebody to meet within that 16 square feet and feel like it's proportionate to what they're trying to do. So that's why there's a recommendation of approval, is because it fits within the realm of what I think our code in the future is going to allow.
It may be in here, but how old is the business?
Ooh.
I mean, how old is the sign that's being replaced?
I don't know the information, and I'm not 100% sure that the owner would know that, because he just purchased that property, I think, in the last 2 years.
It's over 30 years old.
There you go.
Yeah, I think it's a net improvement for the business owner and our downtown to have, you know, new, good looking signage on our businesses, so.
Well, if the business is over 30 years old, I find it difficult to try to change for something that he's had for that long. You would think there's be some grandfathering of what's there.
Yeah, what's there, what's existing is grandfathered in. But since there's a change, we just wanted to make sure, since it does exceed, that it came in front of the planning commission.
I wouldn't call it a significant change, no change in the verbiage.
No, no. No, it's just a change. So even if somebody had previously been approved for a sign exception, if they alter it in any way, they come back in front of the planning commission because it's a change.
We should have talked slower.
I know, this is going awfully fast.
Well, if I could offer any insights to Commissioner Ehlers, typically, I know that we're reviewing this application as itself, right? We're not necessarily considering other sign exceptions that we provided in the past. But to give you a little bit of context, the past couple sign exceptions that have come before us, we've typically approved those.
The gas station,
The gas station on the south side of the highway obviously is the most popular sign exception that we've done in several years. We also though did a sign exception a couple of years ago for the Green Cross dispensary that's next to Brew Zone, because there was always a train parked in front of them and they couldn't get the sign high enough for people to see from the highway. So we did allow that as an exception as well. And those were, we chatted through those and, admittedly, when I saw this come through without looking at the application, seeing the 16 feet to 33 feet. Just with our past experiences with these, makes me a little bit twitchy, but then to see that it's within essentially the same footprint though, like that was the big thing for me, that it's not expanding and if they can confirm that like. If this doesn't work, there wouldn't be like a stick with a sign above it that had, it's in the existing footprint, which makes me feel like very comfortable with this change.
I'm in
Does that
agreement
help?
with all that. Yeah, no, I think this is probably a very terrible case for me to argue what concerns me. Because this seems very clean cut and I don't really think there's any problem with what they're trying to accomplish. I get worried when we start setting a precedence. I think this is very clean. The only thing I could personally say on it is I've always liked the old look.
See, me too.
And I don't really want to see that go. But that's a personal bias and therefore non-relevant at this point. I can't say I can argue with what he's trying to do here whatsoever. I think there is a underlying factor in my mind that concerns me, that this is a terrible case to try to argue with, because this seems totally fine.
Well, hopefully at some point that code will get updated and these won't come before us.
Yes.
All in good time, I'm sure.
It's, the sign code is N17, which is we're doing that huge 16 and 17 rewrite, so the sign code will be addressed. It'll just be addressed within that code change.
I mean, it's his business, but I agree 100%. If I was putting a sign up there aesthetically between that and what's existing, I'd just get that sign made, but make it look like the old, red lettering
Right.
with the curve and the straight bottom. That looks great.
If he come in to ask to repaint it, there probably wouldn't even be an act.
We wouldn't even have to approve if he wanted to paint.
Yeah.
No, he would just be upgrading what's existing.
Yeah.
But not replacing what's.
And maybe just change some light bulbs.
It's his business, so he could.
Yeah, do whatever he wants, sure. I don't wanna hinder him either. I want him to be successful for sure. Yeah, for me, I like the nostalgic look of it. I think it fits our town character quite well, and I realize he's on a busy street, but the way the town is built, that's gonna be the same story for every business on the street, so.
Well, he paid some 20-year-old graphic designer and he said, this is great, They're in like New York City or something like that.
Is the mural still on the side or did that get painted? No, that's still there.
Yeah, that's still there.
I guess I haven't just looked in a while.
Yeah, I mean, there's food truck in front of it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right, okay.
Yeah.
I have one more question to buy 2 more minutes. What's the deal with the signage when he puts up the big Welcome Hunters banner on the side? Is that because it's temporary? There's not too much going on with that?
So that is something we've been addressing with code enforcement, is even those temporary signs, making sure that they fit within the realm of what's within code. Again, putting it out there, and we've been doing a ton of code, sign code enforcement.
Mhm.
With the food trucks, with all of the downtown businesses, and. Again, it is hard to fit everything within the realm of what our current code allows. Because some of it, the businesses are super concerned is actually, and it's not just one business, it's multiple businesses that are concerned
see
that
the
it's
flags are
actually
down.
hurting their business. Sorry, what?
I see the flags are down.
Those are not addressed in our sign code, therefore they were not allowed. So I mean, but I think that when we do the rewrite, I think we can even discuss things like. If it's a change within the realm of this, or it doesn't change the square footage of what's already existing. Does it require a sign exception? So that we can we'll have to talk through all of that, because I'm kind of getting the consensus from the planning commission that. That this would have been fine even without that, so if that's, and the code changes will go through the planning commission and the trustees.
Yeah.
But trying to determine what is gonna trigger an existing sign being updated or upgraded
Specific language.
with, yeah, something like that.
And I'd like to put it in there that specifically you can hang the American flag and it can be this size, but if you wanna hang a Chinese flag. We'll allow you to do it, but it's gonna be this big.
So you're trying to start controversy. So you wanna join the code committee?
Is it appropriate to open it up for public comment at this
Yes.
point without the
Yes.
applicant? Okay, if you guys are all right with that, I'll go ahead and do that. 6:45, open it up for public comment if anyone is here to speak on the sign exception for Columbine Liquors. Hearing none, I will close the public comment at 6:46. And if anyone has any additional questions, I know the applicant does not necessarily need to be here for us to make a decision, but if there were any questions, we could always keep this
Yeah.
going.
And I'll double check my email. I know the road closure kind of got people
I was
upside
over
down
at
and
2 o'clock.
backwards today.
That was over at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, I think I think it opened. I don't know if it affected, people's plans at all.
It's a good thing we have a virtual option.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think I have any questions. I feel like all my feelings about it are kind of covered in the special review of the staff report with the exceptions. I think likewise, like when I saw it coming in as over double what the code was, I was like, oh, but then as you get into it, like thinking about that half the size on that facade, just seems silly. It's not a standalone sign. It's not impeding any other sign or relative to any other business that's in that building. I also am sentimental about kind of like the vintage lettering, but I also drive through a lot of sleepy Colorado towns that don't have existing businesses, but have kind of old vintage signage. So I can also see a case for kind of modernizing and making it clear that there is a business that does exist there with this new signage. So I don't have any other questions or concerns.
Thanks, Jen.
I move to approve the sign exception for the Columbine Liquor at 804 Main Street as presented in the staff reports and spoken during the meeting with the staff recommendation, findings and conditions.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Berto, a second from Commissioner Gizarelli. All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
All right, and if you, Nicole, could let them know in your approval that we would love to meet them sometime. And in the future, would love to have them attend if they're able to. New business owners in our town are always,
They have to bring beer.
always want to see them in person or virtually to thank them for coming into town.
Will do.
I don't know why more people don't bring beer and get us drunk.
Might be a rule about that. All right, next is a discussion item, our planners report for the beginning of the year. I know it's probably been a busy start to the year.
It has, and this planner report is actually a recap. It's a closeout of 2025. So all the numbers are 2025 numbers. We went over subcommittee meetings last night at the Board of Trustee level. And we have Vice Chair Berto and Commissioner Ehlers that sit on the code committee meeting. If anybody is interested in sitting on any of our subcommittees, definitely let me know. There was a full list of subcommittees in the packet from the trustees last night. There are some, like the HR subcommittee that is more exclusive. It would just have the trustees. But there's a Parks, Rec and Culture committee that we'd love to have a commissioner on. And so if you're interested in serving on a committee in any way, definitely feel free to let me know and I can get you connected with whoever's the lead of that committee and we can see if you're able to join, and we'd love to have you.
And what
then-
are the time commitments, like generally for each of those?
So that depends on the committee, and what's happening within that committee.
Yeah.
The code committee meeting, we have generally been trying to meet the first, well, now it'll be the first Tuesday following the first Monday of every month. And so we meet before P and Z. And then the Parks and Rec and Culture meeting, or committee will start meeting more often
Okay,
because of the community park redesign, Veterans Park design, potential of the cattail design, as well as we've merged that one in with the events. So we're particularly looking for help and feedback on the 4th of July event,
Okay.
since that's gonna be a big one, and that one. Mayor Reichel and trustee, Brittenell. Both offered to sit on that one, so. Ensure those fireworks, I think that's what it is. But yeah, so there's a lot going on in that committee, we did have that meeting. And Andrea was sitting on that one and, decided that. She was going to go on ahead and give herself a break and be a citizen and maybe
Yeah,
potentially
good for
come
her.
back as a citizen sitting on that board in the future, but
Okay.
for now, she was. Ready to give herself a break from the spotlight, so, yeah.
Does anyone have like an immediate interest in any of those subcommittees? It's okay if you don't, I just wanted to give folks the opportunity to voice that.
Yeah, I didn't see the list because it just happened last night, so I haven't been able to watch it. I don't always get free time when the meetings happen. I usually am about a week behind on watching them, so.
Yeah,
I know I wanna volunteer more time. Where I'm needed best, maybe Nicole, you can guide me.
Yeah.
I don't know that I can fill every seat, but certainly wanting to get on more at.
okay, yeah, and I know there was one. There was a comment made about it being agricultural and your name was brought up, so, yeah, anytime anybody's interested in. Putting one more thing on their plate, definitely let us know, and not expected, but if you're interested in it, definitely let us know.
Okay.
And then outside of that. I am happy to answer any questions that you might have, but we've just been busy bees trying to get the new year up and going.
So do you think Heron's Nest is next month?
That's what it's in my staff report from the packet last night, and you don't have to watch the meeting to see all that, you can just pull up the packet on the website. But I did put a timeline in there. It's very tentative, but it's kind of a breakdown where February 3rd would be sketch and PUD in front of the commission. And then the second meeting of February the 23rd for the board, it would be sketch but no PUD. Because we need to finish the annexation agreement and get the PUD together. And then it would be the first meeting in March that they would review the first reading of the final annexation and PUD. And then it would be probably the first week of April or the first meeting of April on the 13th. That we would do second reading of ordinances for annexation and PUD, as well as the resolution for the annexation and development agreement. So. Kind of a rough timeline, but if everything goes as planned, they would be through the annexation process around April.
These things always hit snags, so that's the earliest.
That is the earliest.
And for the benefit of everyone, that is simply like laying the groundwork for in the future, a developer coming in that like we have laid the groundwork by zoning it as a PUD and kind of getting all that out of the way. There's not a somebody that has like come in that is interested in like developing it.
So Simone is, and he'll give you the full presentation at sketch plan next month. But he is interested in him actually developing it, the owner actually developing it.
Okay.
So and there's a 4-phase, I guess it's more of a concept at this point, it's not a guarantee. Because there's so much work that still needs to be done, but it's like a 4-phase plan concept of it would be the 98 modular housing units. And then it would go to the parks, and then it would go to the commercial, and then it would address the southern half where it would either turn into a short-term RV or more likely like an apartment, like apartments.
Okay.
So it'd be that multifamily
Okay.
use. And so, and again, a lot of these things, what they presented to the board last night was what they had requested. It wasn't anything that has been decided. It wasn't anything that staff has even sat down with them and said, yeah, this is not happening,
Yeah.
but here's other options. So that'll all take place now that we have the go-ahead from the trustees last night. And we'll start working on developing the annexation and development agreement, addressing all of those issues, including the timing of the phasing out of the existing RV structures, down to the phasing of the development as a whole, the dedication of the parkland, what that looks like, the dedication and infrastructure of roads and utilities. There's a lot that's gonna go into that annexation agreement, so.
And it could be a 5 to 10 year project.
They were, so Simone was
completion.
saying that the bank, yeah, that the amortization of it would be like 14 years. Yeah,
I recognize, have not had a chance to watch the meeting from last night, so this might be similar and obviously don't wanna wait until the applicants kind of get into it and to kind of keep topics relevant. Has there been like a plan at all to like address like the displacement of the current residents that are there? Like.
they are working on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
They,
just always
and they
curious
should
about that,
come
but I
with
know
an
it's-
answer or a tentative answer to that, or what their hope is. They can't control what anybody does.
Right,
But the hope would be that they would phase people into the housing that they're developing.
okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes.
Did I see on the agenda? Town engineer firm,
That was
And-
renewed and approved.
Okay.
Yeah. So Boundaries Unlimited is still our engineer for 2026.
was that the same water attorney as well?
Mike Sawyer's our water attorney, isn't he?
Yeah, Michael Arian is our water engineer, and then Mike Sawyer is our water attorney. Yes.
All right, any other questions on Nicole's planner's report? And if not, then we'll move on to commissioner comments. Anyone have any words of wisdom to kick off the new year?
You go first.
Pleasure to be up here with you all for another year. Thank you for, devoting your time to this once a month on a Tuesday. Nicole did have a question, so there's not gonna be a second meeting in February. You don't anticipate that there will be?
For the commission, no.
Okay,
Unless something crazy comes up. I mean, we have a lot of things in the queue right now. I sent my long list to our attorney. So Riverview sketch was approved. They're getting their preliminary plan together. They're planning on submitting it in February with the hope that they would be on the March agenda. And then Main Street Plaza is also working on their final submittal for their plan. And because they don't have to do preliminary, it was a minor subdivision. And so they went straight from sketch to final, so they're finishing all their final engineering. And then we've had conversations with Rosalinda, and they are gonna be submitting new information and a newly proposed plan based off of using the current PUD and not amending anything. And then Huron's Nest, we just talked about. Western Slope Veterans Coalition was also a minor subdivision, so they're working on all of their final engineering documents. They went through sketch and will go straight to final. And then Go Rentals is working on their site plan. Their annexation is complete. And we're pending an annexation agreement clerical error. That I think it was a copy and paste, and I think our attorney just used a copy and paste that wasn't relevant to that. So I'm gonna get that cleaned up, and then we'll get that recorded, and then they're gonna come in front of the planning commission with their site plan for construction.
okay.
And then Stony Ridge Phase 2 is the SIA is almost complete for their additional 2-phase, and so that should come in front of the planning commission for a recommendation to the board. So there's quite a few things in the queue. I just don't know what's gonna hit and when, and hopefully it doesn't all hit at the same time. So we'll continue with one meeting a month until all of a sudden we feel like we need to push some of these through and then we can move to an extra meeting at one point. Yes.
Thanks. And as everyone's looking at their schedules for the year and mapping out plans and vacations, just a reminder, to get those, that information to Nicole as early as you can. I am one of those naughty folks, and so I will try to remember that better this year, but yeah, if you're not able to make one of the meetings, just try to give us as much advance notice as possible.
Could be me, let's see.
Yeah, on a personal note, I'd like to make an announcement to get ahead of any awkward questions. I'm noticeably with child now.
Saw that.
I'm glad you said that.
I do enjoy like watching that calculation take place, but I'll be due end of April. We'll see about that May meeting, but hoping that it and pending that it doesn't get in front of any other meeting, so trying to stick.
Well,
You can
congratulations.
get dad, you can get Cass, congratulations. You can get dad, be the babysitter. You can be at the meeting
Yeah, we can
online.
get,
On Zoom.
I'll probably be wanting to leave the house at a certain time. Bring the baby, yeah.
Is there a minimum age requirement to sit on the board?
You know, we might be able to amend something. Love to have a baby up here.
I've got a news flash. Nicole's not wearing her boot tonight.
I'm not
Oh,
trying desperately
New
to
year,
to
new,
make
uh,
it here, make it feel, yeah,
Good for you.
yeah, yes.
Move we adjourn.
seconded.
Alrighty.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks for tuning in.
People, you find out these different boards, we do what they're doing.
Um,
That's fine, yeah.
sorry,